Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is just a quick update to the quotes that I sent over yesterday. And what I want to point out is that I have now added the cloud quote to this. And so if we look at this, what you're going to see here is we're going to see the three environments. We're going to see the IBMI environment for what I'm calling prod, which is the serial number ending in B0. And I might have these backwards, so the labels, could be flipped around here. Um, And then I've got the IBMI environment for what I'm calling dev, which is the serial number ending in A0. And then I have the AIX environment on the serial number ending in BW. They're very similar, but just a few subtle differences between them. I have them all residing in the Washington Data Center, which is going to be in that Reston, Virginia area, Herndon, Virginia area. And they're all running on Power 11 S1122 servers on the Prod IBMI environment. I have it on with a quarter of a core, an uncapped core, 16 gig of memory. Got roughly 525 gigabytes of primary storage for the boot volume and the ASP. I've got a shared 750 gigabyte cause bucket, cloud object storage bucket that'll be used between or available to all three VMs here for backups. And it's also got a cross-region capability, which means that you could actually go to the Dallas data center and spin up a VM over there and have access to the data. So it's a really cheap way just to have an additional insurance policy to have access to your data. It comes with an IBMI license. Technically supports 7.4, 7.5, and 7.6, but I left 7.4 off of here because come October 1st, it'll pick up a service extension, and you guys are going to be at 7.5 or 7.6 anyway. So I just went ahead and left off the additional verbiage around the 7.4. Included a virtual serial number, just a little feature on here that helps with serviceability, availability. If the IBM ever needs to perform maintenance and move your VM from one server to another, it'll obviously go to another server, right? They use live partition mobility to go to another server. And what does that server have? It has a different serial number. So this here will then use a virtual serial number, which will be what your software is keyed off of. And then everything should work when it just moves over. So that's what that feature's for. For this one, I have five Rational Development Studio licenses. By the way, this could be any number. This could be one, could be two, could be 10, it could be up to 15, as this system has. But Cliff and I have talked about this. Five, it just seems like a good number. But this cost that you see here is tied to the fact that I've got five on here. So if you said, hey, Brett, we don't even need five on the prod system, we need three, then this cost would come down a little bit, right? Then I've got the IBM Cloud Connector software. What this is an LPP, a licensed program product, and it's just simply is for IBMI, and this allows it to back up to cloud object storage. So this is software that allows the OS environment here to back up to the cloud object storage here, is what that does. I've got a direct link, which is a higher level network connectivity option with a 50 megabit connectivity option there. Because I don't know whether you guys are wanting to go with a 1 or 3 year, commit. I just show on here that that's how IBM structures their contracts in either a 1 or 3 year, and there is a discount associated with either one on here. So right now, I think I've got this one set to. It will be set to a 1 year commit number. So this number here, when you get the actual quote in this video, this number will change. I just have to apply the discount on there, but that'll be for a 1 year number. 3 year, I expect to be a little bit better. Come down here to the dev environment, and the dev environment's going to look just like the prod environment, except I'm going with a little bit less CPU, 0.15. What I want you to pay attention to or be aware of is that this can dynamically increase, right? So you get onto there and you're like, oh, I don't need, or I need more than 0.15, I need 0.20. Great, we can dynamically bump that up to 0.20. The key thing is I don't want to overstate what this number is. In the on-prem system, when we look at this, right, we just round numbers up, right? I have, one OS license, and then, whether you're running it at 50% utilization or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just excess. It's just a rounding number. But up in the cloud, it's a consumption-based model. So you're going to pay for what you consume. So it's important that we kind of dial that in. I've got 16 gig of memory over here, same amount of primary storage. I've got the same shared bucket. Again, this is a shared cost, so I'm just showing it across all three. Technically, it's a one line item cost. Same virtual serial number. I've got only one rational development license over here, and you can dynamically change these, right? I can bump this up to two. I could decrease this one to four as you go, and then the math, the numbers, the cost just changes with that appropriately. The same ICC LPP used for cloud object storage backup. This is a shared network connection, and then again, it'll either be a 1 or 3 year commit, depending upon what you guys decide. For the AIX environment, it's going to be in the same environment on S1122. It may or may not be on the same system. There's no, there's that's not determined by this. That is an option, by the way, but it's an expensive option, right? If you said, "Hey, I wanted all these to be on the same box," so I do have those capabilities to do that. But obviously, you're now starting to say, "I want you to reserve things," and then when they reserve things, that's saying then exclude others, and then with that comes additional cost. Most of our customers of your size doing this up there in the cloud are just fine wherever it works. It's going to access each other via the network as it is, just as it does today. I've got this one with 12 gig of memory. I've got 225 gigabytes of primary storage. I'm sharing that same cause bucket. And this one here has an AIX license supporting 7.2 or 7.3, same network, and 1 or 3 year commit. This is going to be for advanced cloud support. This number is just a 10% number of whatever the sum of these numbers are over here. So if these go up or go down, this number goes along with it. I do have services over here for setting up the prod IBMI environment. We've got $8,000. That's for all of the time that's going to take to set up your cloud environment, set up the networking, set up the cloud object storage environment, to set up the not only the IBMI environment, but then to do the data preparation for the on-prem environment, copying that up into there, just getting all that to work. It's just a time-consuming component. So that's just an hourly cost. There is no T&L involved with this because this is all done remotely. Same thing here for the dev environment, and then the same thing for the AIX environment. AIX environment is just simpler, doesn't have some of the complexities or other things that are done with there. So right now it just sits there without any discounts applied. You're looking at $2,378.76 monthly cost. And then that would be for the term that you guys would have this contract in place. And the way the contract work is that if you did a 1 year commit, then this would be good for 1 year. You could at that point say, "Hey, we would like for you to renegotiate, right? Give us another contract." I could do that, but it'll be based upon the cost and the discounts that they're offering at that time. What I recommend customers do is, because I mean, have you seen anything go down in price? You just see everything go up in price. And that is you just continue to roll this over and say, just let it ride, right? In other words, they'll just keep you at the same cost structure and discount structure that you had. And that's what you'll move forward with. And that's it. And if it was a 36-month contract, it'd be the same thing, right? For 36 months, I have this price. And at the end of it, you can just say, just continue to roll it over on a month-to-month basis. The one thing I want to keep in mind is the reason that I have been so focused on helping you guys understand. I don't want to overdo things like capacity. I don't want to overdo memory. I don't want to overdo things like storage and all this other stuff is because see, the way it works in any cloud environment, when you have a commitment to them, is let's just say, for instance, that we were to increase this number, and all of a sudden this was came to $4,000, for instance. Well, $4,000 on a 12-month commit, right? If I had a 12-month commit, that would be $48,000. Well, let's just say that you actually were only spending $2,000 a month or $24,000. Well, at the end of that year, IBM's going to come to me, and who I'm then going to come to you and say, "Hey, guys, thanks for your business. Appreciate you spending $24,000 with us, but you committed to spending $48,000 with IBM. And you've got a contract here that says you committed to that. You now have to write a check for $24,000 for services you didn't consume, but you committed to, right? So nobody likes that. So what we do is we try to dial that in, right? Now, listen, you can use other services up here, and you will, right? Once you get up to here, you're going to start incurring, right, meter cost, egress charges, and other things that will start to fill in some of this stuff here. So what I would tell you is my goal is I want to be somewhere near the bottom of where you could potentially be, more of a starting point, and then know that your cost is probably going to go up a little bit. You might be at 2,500 or $2,800 a month, right? Once you're all in. But what I don't want to have you do is say, oh, let's just go off of your current environment, convert everything over, and now all of a sudden you've got this $4,000, monthly commitment that you have to reconcile every year. At the end of every 12 months, you reconcile that true up, if you will, and then you've got a payment to make. Okay, so that's just me being a little bit very focused and worried about this. I've done these with several other customers, and it's really, I'm pretty proud of how I've been able to advise you guys to not be in that situation. As a consumer, it's just not something that I would like, and I just try to make sure that you understand it as well. Then the one-time services cost, again, those are the one-time services costs. So while I'm here and I'm on this page talking about the cloud, I just want to show you real quick about the services. There are three different options. There's basic, advanced, and premium. And essentially, basic is going to be, think of it like web support, email support, right? It's no cost. You get access to it, but it's just it is what it is. The advanced is kind of more like what you're used to today. And again, it's 10% of what the cost is. You can kind of see it here. 10% actually says $200 or 10%. So $200 is the minimum. So like here, if you go below, the $2,000 a month, and let's say you're at 1,800, well, then this would be at $200. Okay. But this is going to give you a better experience, more consistent with what you're used to getting today. Advanced or premium is simply not an option for you guys. You have to spend $10,000 a month on your cloud spend in order to get this, and you guys aren't there. So I just wanted to point out that's what that's going to look like. Now, this would be for you to deploy this fully in the cloud for all three environments, and you could pick and choose which ones that you wanted on here, right? And we could tweak this as you wanted to. I'm going to come back here to the on-prem solutions, and I just want to point out I didn't change anything up here in any of the hardware or software pieces, but I did add this optional piece up here. Let's say that for your current on-prem environments, that you said, hey, you know what? I'd like to go ahead and go with the on-prem, but I would like to have a little bit of additional availability. I could add the ICC, the IBM Cloud Connector, LPP, just a little piece of software that we install on the new server locally, right? It would come with 1 year SWAMA. We license it by the VM, and there's your cost. So that's both, you can see up here, that's for both the license and the software maintenance costs, right? And I'll show you up here that whenever I, just ran the numbers real quick over here just to see what it was like, right? So here in this case, this is for two partitions, right? Here's the ICC, and then here's the other ICC. This is for the actual LPP, so for quantity two. Okay. So I just wanted you to kind of see that, how I'm coming up with it. This is quantity one here, and that's because you just got the one L part here. But when we get to the consolidated boxes, we'll have two IBMI environments on it, or on this one, we'll have two IBMI environments on it. And that's why that cost is a little bit more over here. But back to this. So anyway, this is the software to allow us to do the backups. And this is going to be a VPN piece of software and security that's it's going to give us a secure tunnel to back the data up. You would not have to have this. You could back this up over the public internet and there would be no cost, but otherwise this would be a monthly cost. Okay, so just a small little monthly cost to have that little VPN connectivity, and you can provide your own. We just have to make sure it is compatible, right, with the IBM Cloud. So that'd be something we could explore, but this would just be for that network connectivity up to 768 megabits is what the pipe is, what it supports up to, right? And so that's quite a bit of data, and this works great for a cause environment. And then you got the actual cloud object storage, and I should also add to this that this is for 750 gigabytes per month, right? And again, this is a monthly cost. This number is probably going to be lower than that because you're not going to have 750 gigs worth of data in there. You're going to start with 100 gigs, right? You're going to do your initial full system save for your two environments. That'll be up there. You'll probably have very little for the AIX, and then it just depends on what your retention schedule is. So you can imagine over time, right? This is going to fluctuate. This number eventually, initially is going to be $5, right? Then it's going to be $8. And then at some point it'll be $10, right, over time. So that's just what that is. Now, if we go to the other IBMI environment, it's going to look the same thing, right? So this one here actually would be this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this out and I'm going to say this is a shared. And I'm going to say shared. Okay, and so there actually would be no cost with this one here. Why? Because I've got it with the other one, right? And actually, this one here is the same thing. Okay, so it's just as I'm doing this and thinking about these things here for you guys. Let me fix this one real quick. I'm going to say shared. Okay, right. So no cost here. I'm with that. So that'd be for the second environment. Now over here, we come to this one. This is the one if we consolidated the two IBMI environments. We would have, and I'm just going to copy this to here. We came to this one here. This again, we would have the same ICC that we would need because we have two VMs, right? We have prod and dev. I would need two of these. This is not applicable to AIX. I would need the VPN connectivity. It'd be shared between those environments. I've got the actual cause backup environment and everything. So that's what that cost would look like. Then if we come over to here, it's going to be the same thing, right? Like that. So this would be, a 5-year cost. So in other words, you pay it one time, and then you would pay for a software maintenance renewal after the 5th year. And then this here would just be, a monthly cost for this here. So about $100 for that a month. And again, it'll be less than that because you're not going to have much capacity on here. So hopefully this is helpful and you can kind of see that you've got multiple options. Just to kind of recap, you can go the discrete model here, you can go the consolidated model here, right, where maybe you do consolidated the two IBMI environments, and then you add the AIX Lowa environment and place that server in whatever state and location and everything that you want. Or you could consolidate all three environments onto a single server. Cost wise, it's about the same as if you were to go the discrete options, right? But it just gives you some flexibility, and you could say, hey, maybe I like having all those boxes, together from a management standpoint and everything else. Or you could look at the cloud option, right? And to say on the cloud option, I just want to do this, want to set it and forget it, not have to worry about it. And one other thing, just as I'll plug this for my team, we can provide managed services for this. So if as your team gets older, they start to retire, they decide, hey, we're kind of, done with the care and feeding of this, and we would like, Brett's team to do this. I can provide that as well, right? My team is essentially a replacement for your team. It's not going to be fancy. I don't have to pay for, a big staff or something like that. So my costs are super competitive compared to what you're going to get from, other providers out there. So that's just something to consider down the road. I just want to throw that out there. And that's it, guys. So look forward to any feedback. Thanks a lot.